Hi everyone, I'm Gwen and welcome to At Home with Gigi. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Today I have 2 farmhouse DIYs that I'm going to share with you. I originally had planned for 3, but sometimes when you're crafting you just have epic fails, and that's what happened this time. So today it's only going to be 2. So I hope that you enjoy them. If you do, please comment down below and let me know. Also, if you're not part of my YouTube family, I hope that you will consider subscribing and becoming part of my YouTube family. And if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. It sure would help my channel to grow. Now guys, let's get started with these projects. For this first project, we're going to be using one of the long signs from the Dollar Tree, and I just had one left over from Valentine's Day. One of their wooden crates from the Crafters Square, some Waverly White chalk paint, and I have stencils laying there, but I just changed my mind later on because they were just a little too big. So in place of those, I'm going to be using some of the poster board stickers from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to start the project by giving this crate just one layer of paint. I'm going to distress it a little bit later on so I don't mind too much if some of the wood shows through. And as you can see, I have the long board laying over there drying. I had sanded it down where I removed the staples from the back, and then I just wiped it down real good with a damp cloth. The inspiration for this piece came from a sign that I saw this past spring at Hobby Lobby, and I just fell in love with it. It was much bigger than this. So this is on a much smaller scale, but the one at Hobby Lobby, I believe it was like $69. And I knew that I wanted to try and recreate it, but I'm just now getting around to it. And I think I did this for less than maybe $6-7. And I'm not going to paint the entire inside of this crate because the flowers that I'm going to be using is going to cover most of that. I'm just going to do just around the top there in case you see over in it. But if you want to paint the entire inside of the crate, you go for it. While the little crate is drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint my board. Now, if it bothers you with the love being on the other side and it looking unfinished, you can cover it with some brown paper like what I'm painting on here or something like that, but it doesn't bother me because I'm just going to probably put it up against a wall or in front of my fireplace mantle so nobody's really going to be seeing the back of it. And I'm only going to give this one coat of paint because I'm going pretty heavy on this, and if a little bit of that brown particle board, I guess you would call it, shows through, it doesn't bother me at all because I am going to go back and distress this board as well with my my folk art antique wax. I always want to call it Waverly, but it's by folk art. I let both pieces set overnight to make sure it was completely dry. Then I just went back in with the antique wax and just gave it a bit of a distressed look. If you don't want to do this, you can just leave it as is, or if you don't want to use the antique wax, you can use any other color that you like. But I kind of like this look here, and it is a farmhouse look that I'm going for today. So I'm just going to do the same to the board here. You can't really tell with my camera, but it doesn't look like I'm adding very much, but actually I added more than what you think. And I did end up going back later on and adding just a little bit more because I wanted to darken up some areas where I'd made a boo-boo when I put my letters on here. And I'll explain that to you in just a little bit. And I just happened to get lucky with having these 3 pieces of leftover foam from other projects that fit in here perfectly. And also, if you are not going to change out your florals, you might want to hot glue the foam to the bottom of your crate, but I am going to be changing mine out with each season, so I'm not going to hot glue it down. And these gorgeous little flowers. They came from the Dollar Tree. I found them back in the early spring, and I've just had them in my stash and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with them. And whenever I was looking for flowers for this project, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want to use. I kind of want my arrangement to resemble the hanging baskets that you get in the spring and summer, where it's just so lush and hanging over the sides and just full. And I'm going to add in some of this greenery that came from Michael's, and I got this a few weeks ago when they put all their summer and spring florals on sale for 50% off, and I love to do that and just stock up. That way you can add just a little bit of a higher quality greenery in with your less expensive flowers, and it gives it just that little extra bump, and in my opinion a little bit more of a high-end look. And you just use it and just fill in the little gaps and holes in your arrangement, and I think it just makes it so pretty.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? And I wonder what's that like? I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish he felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're all he wants? And it's midnight, oh, I'm thinking about him. I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish he felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say.
I'm just going to put down a layer of Mod Podge before I put my letters on the board, just to help them adhere to it a little better. And remember earlier when I said I made a boo-boo? Well, this is where I made the boo-boo. I had placed some really light pencil marks on the board to keep me in a straight line, and when I put that Mod Podge on there, it just really brought them out. But I did go back and try to cover it up with some more paint and some more of the antique wax. I think I did a pretty good job of it. You guys will have to let me know what you think at the end. Just pressing these edges down really well so I can make sure, because if it's going to come up, it's going to be right there along the edges. I'm just adding some hot glue to my little wreath here, and I'm on the struggle bus with this hot glue gun. I ended up having to throw it away. I left it setting one time for a couple of hours plugged in. I'd forgotten about it, so I think it bit the dust then, because it has not wanted to do right since then. So just press it down and just kind of hold it in place until it sets up. Because I do use Gorilla hot glue sticks, and they are awesome, but it does take it a minute or so to set up. So you just kind of have to hold it in place and press it down and give it just a little time. But to me, it is so worth the little bit of extra. And I'm just going to go back over the top of each of my letters with a little more of the Mod Podge and just making sure that it's going to keep them in place. Guys, if you can hear dogs barking in the background, I am so sorry. It's my neighbor's dogs, and the other neighbors out there cutting grass, and they're just going crazy. I've been trying to wait them out, but I think he's going to cut grass all day. I'm just going to use a piece of twine and wrap it around my fingers. I think it's 3-4 times. Then just pinch it in the middle and use another little piece of twine and just tie it off and just make a little tiny bow. Clip those ends off and then add a little hot glue and attach it to my wreath. I'm just taking another piece of twine and I'm just going to wrap it around the top of the board right here. I think it was 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times. Just however many times you want. Or you can not even do this part, but I just thought it just added that little extra touch for the farmhouse look that I'm going for. I'm just going to glue it down. Just put a little tiny strip of glue there on the back. Make sure it holds it in place really tight because you don't want it to come loose or sag down. And yes, I did have to switch glue guns. Now I'm just lining up my crate to make sure it's going to sit exactly where I want it to at the bottom of my board, and then I'm just going to put a really good amount of hot glue to the back of this because I don't want it to come loose, which I don't think it will because I am using Gorilla Glue. And y'all please excuse that glue gun. That's what I call my big mama. It's what I use for big projects, but I don't ever show in YouTube videos because I have had it for a very long time, but it gets the job done. But just hold your crate in place a few seconds until it has time to set up. And this is what it looks like all finished, and I just love it. I think they look so real and just vibrant. I am in love with this. This is something that I really will use time and again. Can't wait to see what it's going to look like with some of my fall flowers in it. I'm thinking maybe sunflowers or mums with some pumpkins. Oh my gosh, that would be so cute. Okay, so for this project, we're going to be using these beautiful little roses that I collected from all the different Dollar Trees in my area this spring. And I think they are just so gorgeous. And we're going to make a wreath out of them, and we're going to be using an 18-inch grapevine wreath, and that came from Walmart. See how beautiful these are? Oh my gosh, I am just so in love with them. And I just snipped them all off, and I am not going to be using hot glue or floral wire to attach these. I'm just sticking them straight into the grapevine wreath, and see how well it holds them. Now if you're going to sell this or give it away, or you want it to stay permanently attached, you're going to want to use some hot glue or floral wire, or maybe even both. But this is for myself, and I've got to start reusing some of my wreath forms because I am starting to run out of room for wreaths, or so my honey tells me anyway. But anyway, as you can see, I'm just sticking them in there and just kind of bending them to curve along the edge of the grapevine wreath there. And guys, it's really just that easy. I'm just going to continue on around going in one direction. You can put them in any direction you want, but I want them all to go in one direction. It's just, to me, more pleasing to the eye.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? And I wonder what's that like? I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish he felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're all he wants, and it's midnight?
And I think it's just so beautiful, just in its simplicity. Not using anything else with it, not putting a bow on it or anything else, just these flowers. And I think it just has such a wild, beautiful look. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I appreciate it so much. And I'll see you next time.